Prepared for the possibility of some very strong storms later on tonight. Even this morning, we could get a little bit of rain. I'm not anticipating a severe weather threat before midday, but that rain's getting awfully close to you in San Saba County coming out of the big country. I've put in a 10 to 20% chance of some pockets of rain and maybe a weak storm through the day today, but still on track for the strongest storm activity after nightfall tonight. Live look outside, Allied Medical Emergency Room camera there in Bastrop have quite a bit of cloud cover, a lot of moisture to work with, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. It's warm and muggy to start, and we're still likely to be warm this afternoon with highs well into the 80s. Yesterday came within 1 degree of the daily record in downtown Austin. We actually tied the record for the day out at Austin Bergstrom with the high of 92. The south-southeast wind will continue to pump up more and more of that moisture for these storms to use. The rain chance this afternoon and evening stands at about 30%, meaning most of us won't get this little appetizer round, if you will. 3, 4 o'clock, you can see some isolated storms around, but there's likely going to be a little lull here during the evening as some of those afternoon storms fade and we get ready for the main complex of storms coming in tonight. Here's how it's going to work. Cold front out in far west Texas. These storms ignite along that front. This complex of storms is going to outrun the front, so the storms arrive first, moving into the hill country probably around 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight, into the Austin metro between about 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern counties, you'll be next, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., maybe a little bit more right behind the leading edge of that complex. And then what happens after that overnight event is what's going to determine whether or not we get a secondary round in the afternoon. If we see more sunshine midday tomorrow, it is much more likely that these storms form Saturday afternoon, early evening. If they take their sweet time and we get covered up with cloud cover all day tomorrow, those storms that come behind the overnight round are really going to struggle because the atmosphere will be worked over. There's still going to be a severe risk that we need to watch for. 2 out of 5 threat overnight into tomorrow, and that scoots over to the Austin metro eastern counties to account for tomorrow morning and then potentially in the afternoon. What are the threats? A quick spin up tornado will be possible, but it's more likely that hail and wind will be the problem here, in addition to some localized flash flooding. 2 out of 4 threat for flooding pretty much across the entire area, meaning 1 to 2 inches. That's widespread as far as the rainfall total goes, but there will be pockets of 2 to 4 inches possible anywhere within the viewing area. So make sure you have a way to get weather alerts overnight that can wake you up if needed, because there is going to be that tornado risk. Highs in the upper 80s today, lower 80s tomorrow, rain and storms in the morning, potentially again in the afternoon. Quiet Sunday through next week. This cold front that comes in next week is dry, but it is bringing some cooler air with highs in the 70s. Tommy?
Good to see the
Get close to the hill country. The storms that we had moved through the Dallas-Fort Worth area this morning have since weakened significantly. Temperatures 50s up in Amarillo, Lubbock, 60s in Waco, 70s in Austin. We've got 70s down along the coastline. As far as the dew points go, healthy. A lot of moisture out there, 50s, 60s, and 70s. In fact, talking with the Weather Service this morning, they were saying this is an unseasonable amount of moisture. So we've got the ingredients there. Moisture in place, little daytime heating adds lift. That complex of storms is going to give us a whole lot of lift to work with. We've got instability up above us, everything coming together here for this line of storms and showers to fire initially along the cold front, but then that complex of storms is going to outrun the cold front, come in well ahead of it. That's what hits us tonight. But you're noticing it's not just a Central Texas event. These storms are going to go all the way from Wichita Falls all the way down towards Del Rio and continue to push generally northwest to southeast across Texas here. So the entire I-35 corridor likely to get a little piece of this complex. That's going to continue to move towards the east. But again, behind it, 5, 6 p.m., this is when the cold front actually catches up. So that's where that storm chance could come in for Saturday afternoon. Severe risk. That's a pretty big footprint across Texas. 2 out of 5 threat. Quick spin up tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, even the addition of some localized flooding. That will be possible starting tonight, and then we'll continue that into tomorrow locally, and even East Texas, Houston Metro, they'll get some of that severe weather threat as well. Wildfire risk has obviously come down significantly in anticipation of some heavy rain here. Just left over higher fire danger out east. They'll be the last to see the storms, but this is much needed rain. We've got drought expanding over the area day after day. We've gone 40 plus days without rainfall, so hopefully we get some rain in our soil and it doesn't wash off or run off too quickly, and we can see some improvements in next week's drought update. That's a look at your statewide forecast. We'll talk more about your local weather and traffic after this.